screens and graphics are for illustration purposes only. They may differ from actual screens, device, and/or kit configuration. Because warnings and cautions are not included in this video, please review the operator's manual for a complete listing. Fresenius Kabi has provided this AMICORE kit loading video as a training tool for platelet collections using the AMICORE apheresis system. As such, facilities and their staff members should not consider this video as a sole information source for the performance of the platelet procedures on the AMICORE separator. Rather, this video should be used in conjunction with the operator's manual and your facility's standard operating procedures. The AMICORE apheresis system is a continuous flow centrifugal apheresis device that separates whole blood into components. The AMICORE separator has the following components: touchscreen, weight scales, solution hook, stop button, centrifuge compartment, cassette module, air detector, draw and return clamps, daily power switch, data ports, Wi-Fi antenna, pressure cuff connector, main power switch. The touchscreen enables the operator to control the procedure, gather status information, and handle alerts. The screen displays prompts to enter information or perform other tasks. Screens contain elements such as tabs, pages, buttons, prompts, and status information. There is one cassette module on the top panel of the AMICORE separator which contains the following: 6 pumps. The pumps transport solution, blood, and blood components throughout the kit. 9 valves. The position of the valves controls the flow of blood components through the cassette in the apheresis kit. 4 pressure sensors. The 4 pressure sensors are utilized throughout the procedure to monitor kit and line pressures. Cassette plate. A metal plate upon which the cassette is loaded and contains spaces through which the valves and pressure sensors can properly contact and interact with the apheresis kit cassette. We will now show the detailed steps for performing an AMICORE platelet collection procedure, including the kit loading steps. First, let's turn on the AMICORE apheresis device. The instrument has 2 power switches: the daily power switch and the main power switch. The main power switch controls power to the entire instrument and is used when there is a need to unplug the instrument. The daily power switch brings power to system components that are necessary to perform a procedure, such as the touchscreen. Ensure that the main power switch is on. Toggle the daily power switch on. The touchscreen displays the AMICORE logo screen with the animated processing icon while the instrument performs self-tests. Verify the date and time displayed at the top of the screen. If the date or time is incorrect, contact your administrator. The system is ready to proceed when the prompt to test the stop button appears. Press the stop button. If the test is successful, the Verify Audio Signal prompt appears. Check that an audio tone sounds. Touch the check button. The home screen is displayed. To start a procedure, touch the Start New Procedure button. When prompted, use keypads to enter the operator ID. Enter disposable kit information. Touch the check button. We will now proceed to install the disposable kit. Remove the plastic covering from the kit tray. Note, the plastic covering on the apheresis kit serves as a dust cover for the kit and keeps the contents of the kit intact. It is not a sterility barrier, and it does not define the use-by date of the kit. With the centrifuge compartment door closed, snap the kit tray onto the kit tray holder under the touchscreen. Starting from the left side of the tray, remove the donor line and place it around the right blue handle. Remove the red hanger with RBC container and in-process container and hang it on the left front red weigh scale hook. Remove the plasma container and hang it on the left back yellow weigh scale hook. Remove the platelet storage containers and hang them on the right back gray hook. Remove the cassette from the kit tray. Slide the cassette into the metal guides at the back of the base and then lower the cassette onto the base. Slide the tubing from the top left of the cassette into the left tubing guide. Slide the tubing from the top right of the cassette into the right tubing guide. Note, not using the tubing guides may result in damage to the tubing. Touch the Check button. The system prompts you to install the centrifuge pack. Remove the umbilicus and discard the tray per institutional SOPs. To unlatch the centrifuge compartment door, squeeze the door handle. Then open the door completely. Pull the 0 omega arm toward you. Note, place the centrifuge lines to the side to ensure that the lines are not pinched by the 0 omega arm. Rotate the centrifuge until the blue centrifuge release buttons are at the 12 o'clock position. Press the blue centrifuge release buttons while pulling the centrifuge lid toward you until it rests open. Compress the blue spool release wings and pull the spool up until it clicks and stops. Do not compress the gray spool release buttons located below the blue spool release wings, or the spool will come off the spool holder. Locate the separation chamber and position it over the spool's reflective tape. Secure the end of the separation chamber to the 2 pins that are on one side of the spool. Wrap the centrifuge pack halfway around the spool and fit the single pin into the corresponding hole in the pack. Finish wrapping the pack around the spool and secure the end to the 2 pins that are on the side of the spool where you first attached the pack. Check that all 5 centrifuge pack holes are secured to a spool pin. Make sure the edges of the pack are smooth and even. Note, the centrifuge pack will only fit correctly on the spool one way. If the holes on the centrifuge pack do not line up with the pins on the spool, then the pack is not positioned correctly. Compress the blue spool release wings and push the spool back into the spool holder. Make sure the centrifuge pack remains smooth. Grasp the upper part of the spool without touching the spool release wings or buttons and gently pull on the spool. This ensures that the spool is properly secured in the spool holder. Press the rear portion of the blue button in the center of the spool while slowly opening the lower umbilicus joint holder. Slide the lower umbilicus joint into the holder. To help ensure no kinks are formed, place a finger behind the lines coming from the lower umbilicus joint while pushing the lower umbilicus joint holder back into place. Latch the lower umbilicus joint holder by pushing the front portion of the blue button back into place. Ensure that lines are not pinched or kinked. Make sure the lower umbilicus joint holder and the button are flush and level with the top of the spool. Tug gently on the umbilicus to test that the lower umbilicus joint holder has been latched correctly. Note: if pulling on the umbilicus opens the lower umbilicus joint holder, the locking mechanism was not engaged and must be closed again, as previously described. Locate the umbilicus bearing holder, found on the outside rim of the centrifuge. Push the umbilicus bearing into the umbilicus bearing holder until it snaps into place. Check that the bearing is completely seated and flush in the bearing holder. Close the centrifuge. Press the blue centrifuge release buttons to latch the centrifuge into place. The buttons should click when you release them. Return the 0 omega arm to its upright locked position. Listen for the click. Rotate the latch handle outwards and slide the upper umbilicus joint into the 0 omega arm and smooth out the lines. Rotate the latch handle inward until the yellow portion is no longer visible. Listen for the click. Close the centrifuge compartment door. Make sure that the lines are not kinked, twisted, or caught in the door. Thread the purple inlet line through the purple clamp. Guide the clear AC line between the two clamps. Thread the blue return line through the blue clamp. Carefully thread the tubing loop, smaller diameter, into the air detector. Gently slide tubing from side to side until it is secure in the air detector. Close the roller clamp on the donor line. Note: ensure kit tubing is not pinched or kinked before starting kit install check. Touch the check button. The cassette base is automatically lowered and the pumps engage the pump tubing. The system performs the kit install check. Note: ensure the pump tubing is correctly installed in the pumps. The Install Kit screen displays. Close the slide clamp on the sample pack located on the platelet storage container. If the disposable kit contains 2 platelet storage containers, then do the following. Close the clamp to one of the platelet storage containers. Ensure that the clamp on the other platelet storage container is open. Close the slide clamps on both sample packs located on the platelet storage container. Touch the check button. The Install Saline screen displays. Note: a minimum of 500 milliliters of saline is required at the start of the procedure. Enter saline information. Confirm saline volume. Toggle to change the volume if needed. Hang the saline container on the right front white hook. Spike the saline container with the white spike on the white striped tubing. If a rigid saline container was spiked, open the vent on the saline spike before the saline drip chamber is primed. Note: the sequence of hanging and spiking the container may be performed in reverse order based on institutional SOPs or operator preference. The sequence does not affect disposable kit priming. Prime the saline drip chamber until approximately half full. Touch the check button. The Install AC screen displays. Enter AC information. Confirm AC volume. Toggle to change the volume if needed. Note: a minimum of 250 milliliters of AC is required at the start of the procedure. Hang the AC container on the left front red weigh scale hook. Spike the AC container with the red spike on the red striped tubing. If a rigid AC container was spiked, open the vent on the AC spike before the AC drip chamber is primed. Note: the sequence of hanging and spiking the container may be performed in reverse order based on institutional SOPs or operator preference. The sequence does not affect disposable kit priming. Prime the AC drip chamber until approximately half full. Touch the check button. During System Prime, the touchscreen displays a series of tabs that step you through entering procedure and donor information. After entering the values for a parameter, touch the Check button to save the setting and advance to the next tab. Enter Procedure ID. Then proceed to enter Donor's ID, gender, height, weight, hematocrit, and pre-count. Select Product Yield. After all procedure parameters are entered, the system displays a Setup Confirmation screen. Verify that all entries are correct. Note: if changes are needed, touch the applicable parameter tab. When all parameter entries are correct, touch the Check button on the Setup Confirmation screen to confirm the entered information. Place the pressure cuff on the donor's arm and position the cuff for donor comfort. Use the buttons in the blue area of the display screen to inflate the pressure cuff to the desired level. To set the pressure to 60 millimeters of mercury, touch the 60 millimeters of mercury preset button. Use the arrow buttons to increase or decrease the pressure level in 5 millimeters of mercury increments. Ensure the Master Guard anti-stick needle protector is positioned away from the needle wings so it does not interfere with the venipuncture procedure. Perform venipuncture per institutional SOPs. Lower the cuff pressure to the desired setting to fill the blood sampling pouch. Allow the blood sampling pouch to fill. Close the blood sampling pouch clamp. Place 2 hermetic seals on the blood sampling pouch line near the Y junction. Once hermetic seals have been placed, you may begin collection. The sampling pouch may be removed from the kit by adding a 3rd hermetic seal and cutting between 2 of the seals. Leave 2 seals on the line leading to the kit. Position the sample pouch to prevent air from entering the blood collection tube. Open the barrel holder cover. Center and push the blood collection tube into the barrel holder, penetrating the tube stopper with the multi-sample needle. Fill the blood collection tube. Remove the blood collection tube from the barrel holder and mix the tube well. Repeat above steps as needed for additional blood collection tubes. Open the donor line roller clamp. Touch the Start button. The first draw cycle begins. Follow your institutional SOPs for donor monitoring throughout the procedure. The flow rate is continuously monitored and represented graphically on the collection screen with a bar graph. The color of the donor flow bar indicates the level of flow. Blue, good flow to or from the donor. Yellow, possible flow restrictions to or from the donor. Orange, occlusion imminent. Alert will be triggered. Intelligent Flow Control, or IFC, is a feature of the AMICORE apheresis system that automatically responds to variations in flow rate during the draw phase of a procedure. If the donor's vein appears unable to maintain the programmed draw rate, IFC temporarily halts the draw and may decrease the pressure cuff or decrease the draw rate. These steps are repeated until the problem is resolved. If an occlusion occurs, you will be notified by an alert sound. During the return phase, the instrument will alert you before the first return cycle begins to ensure the donor is monitored when fluids are returned. There will be a brief audible alert before the return phase begins. You may adjust the draw and return rate at any time. If an occlusion occurs, you will be notified by an alert sound. To adjust the inlet rate, touch the Draw Rate button on the collection screen. To adjust the return rate, touch the Return Rate button on the collection screen. You may use the Pause button to halt the procedure momentarily, adjust the citrate infusion rate, administer saline to the donor, adjust the cuff pressure, and/or add a new solution container. Touch the Pause button. Adjust the citrate infusion rate to 1.10 milligrams per kilogram per minute. Touch the Resume Procedure button. Pressing the Stop button while a donor is connected automatically stops all pumps and closes all clamps. After pressing the Stop button, the system displays overlays with options based on the current status of the procedure. Options include Resume the procedure, End the procedure with fluid return and with product transfer, End the procedure with no fluid return or product transfer, Shut down the instrument. When the separator determines that platelet collection is complete, the system performs the reinfusion phase. Once reinfusion is complete, donor may be disconnected and the platelet product can be transferred into the storage container. When prompted to disconnect the donor, close the roller clamp on the donor line. Follow your institutional SOPs for needle removal, needle disposal, and donor care. Check that the clamp to one of the storage containers is open. Open the centrifuge compartment door completely. Unlatch the upper umbilicus joint holder. Remove the upper umbilicus joint from the holder. Pull the 0 omega arm to its open position. Rotate the centrifuge until the centrifuge release buttons are in the 12 o'clock position. Press the blue centrifuge release buttons to open the centrifuge. Remove the umbilicus bearing from the bearing holder. Press the rear portion of the blue button and open the lower umbilicus joint holder. Pull the lower umbilicus joint out of the lower umbilicus joint holder. Push the holder back into place and latch it by pushing the blue button into place. Press the blue spool release wings and pull the spool up until it clicks and stops. Do not press the gray spool release buttons located below the blue spool release wings, or the spool will come off the spool holder. Remove the centrifuge pack from the spool pins and remove the pack from the spool. Press the blue spool release wings and lower the spool back into the spool holder. Close the centrifuge. Return the 0 omega arm to its original position. Listen for the click. Close the centrifuge compartment door. Check that no lines are caught in the centrifuge door. Touch the Check button on the Remove Centrifuge Pack screen to transition to product transfer. Gently roll the separation chamber up with your hands. Use a brisk shaking motion to agitate the collection chamber vigorously for at least 30 seconds or until the platelets are completely resuspended. Hang the centrifuge pack on the right front hook using one of the two collection chamber holes located on the end of the pack. Make sure the platelets are completely resuspended. Touch the transfer button. The AMICORE apheresis system will transfer the platelets and the appropriate volume of storage fluid to the storage container. Note: transfer can be paused and platelets resuspended in the pack anytime and then resumed. When the transfer ends, close the clamps to the platelet storage container, but do not seal the line yet. Seal the donor lines, the saline line, and AC line. Touch the check button. The base automatically unloads the cassette. Check that the air has been expressed from the sample pack and that the slide clamp is closed. Roll the filled storage container from the bottom up to push the air toward the ports. Carefully open the clamp on the filled storage container and purge the air into the line leading to the cassette until the platelets reach the bottom of the ports. Close the clamp on the filled storage container. Make 3 hermetic seals directly on the line leading to the storage containers, close to the cassette. Ensure that adequate line length remains associated with the storage containers to allow subsequent sterile connection needs. Cut between 2 seals, leaving 2 seals on the line leading to the storage containers. Remove the kit containers, the saline, and the AC containers from the hooks. Remove the cassette. Disconnect the needle from the disposable kit and dispose of it per institutional SOPs. The kit is biohazardous waste and should be disposed of according to institutional SOPs. Touch the Continue button. The procedure results screen displays. The procedure results screen appears at the end of every procedure. The screen has 5 tabs. Setup Summary displays the setup summary. Disposables Used displays disposables used. Procedure Summary displays the end summary results. Alerts and Event Data lists all the events and alerts that occurred during the procedure. Procedure Settings Summary displays AC ratio, CIR, max cycle volume, average draw rate, and average return rate. Record procedure results as required by your institutional SOPs. Congratulations! You have successfully completed a platelet collection procedure using the AMICORE apheresis system.